Hello children, welcome to second part. Today we'll start with basic features of our Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution is unique. It is a healthy synthesis of the world's best democratic constitutions. Fathers of our constitution have tried to learn from the experience of other nations. They adopted certain features of the constitution of UK, USA, Ireland, Canada after suitably modifying these to suit Indian conditions. So children, our Constituent Assembly, the members of our Constituent Assembly had taken reference from the constitution of other countries like UK, USA, Ireland and Canada and made our constitution. Now we'll see the basic features of our constitution. The important features: first is a written, enacted and lengthy constitution. Our constitution is a written document. It was adopted, enacted and given to us by our Constituent Assembly on 26th November 1949. The Constitution is quite detailed. Now we'll see how many articles and schedules are there. It is the lengthiest one, having 395 articles and 12 schedules list in it, and it is divided into 22 parts. So it makes it the lengthiest constitution of the world. Next, sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic. So these 5 words are very important words mentioned in our constitution, which explains the features of our country. So here we'll see the meaning of each word. Sovereign. First, India is sovereign as it is independent of any foreign control. Second, it is socialist as it aims at social and economic equality. That means welfare of all the citizens of our country. Next, it is secular as there is no state religion in India. That means the government does not support any one religion. Next, it is democratic as the government is elected by the people directly after every 5 years. In democratic country, people have the right to vote and they choose the government. Next, it is a republic because the head of the state in India, namely President, is elected for 5 years by the members of the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and state legislative assemblies. So in republic, the head of the country, that is president, is also elected. It is not hereditary. It is not like kings and queens and one king dies then his son becomes the next king. It is not like that. Even the president of India is also elected. The next feature of our constitution is universal adult franchise. Every citizen of India who is at least 18 years of age can be a voter to elect the representatives of the parliament and the state legislature. According to this feature of our constitution, every citizen who has attained the age of 18 and above has the right to vote. He possesses this right without any discrimination of caste, creed, color, sex, religion or belief. Next, both rigid and flexible constitution. This is an important feature of our constitution. And children, some changes can be made in our constitution according to the requirement, and when any changes are made in the constitution, it is called amendment. And it is written that it is both rigid and flexible constitution. It means that some changes can be amended by simple majority vote in the parliament, but some other articles can be amended by 2/3 majority in both houses of the parliament. Next, federal feature. In federal government, there are two sets of government, that is central government or union government and the state governments. Different states have different state governments. The constitution specifies to both the sets of government clearly marked areas of functioning. The Constitution of India does not use the term federal, but instead it uses union of state. The Constitution clearly mentions the subjects on which the central and the state government can pass laws. So both central government have some powers and state government have some powers. This is called division of power between the center and the state government. Next feature is fundamental rights. As a citizen of India, every citizen are guaranteed 6 fundamental rights by the Constitution of India. These include right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, culture and educational rights, and the right to constitutional remedies. All these rights are enforceable in the court of law and are protected by the judiciary. This means if anybody tries to take your fundamental rights from you, you can file a case in Supreme Court or High Court. Next, parliamentary government. The Constitution provides for the parliamentary form of government at the center and in the state. Now, what is this parliamentary form of government? First, there are two types of government: parliamentary government and presidential government. In our country, we have parliamentary government. That means the President of India is the nominal head of our country. He does not have actual powers, and every governors in the various states, they are also nominal head. But the real power is vested or given to Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers. But it is not so that they are all powerful. There are certain limitations on their power also, and here you can see, if a no confidence motion is passed in the parliament against the government, that is Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers, that they are not working properly, they have to resign. Our last feature is single unified judicial system with independent judiciary. So children, in our country, the judiciary system is like a pyramid. The Supreme Court is located in Delhi, and that is in the apex, and every state have high courts and other subordinate courts under them. The judiciary in our country is independent. That means the judges have the power to give impartial decision without any fear or control. The judges can be removed cannot be removed except through impeachment. This is a very lengthy process. If any misbehavior, misconduct is done by the judges of Supreme Court or High Court, there is a very lengthy process to remove them. It is called impeachment, remove them from office. Then there is a provision called judicial review. This is a very important power enjoyed by Supreme Court and High Court. And according to this power, if the Parliament or state legislature makes any law or rule which is against the Constitution, see here, an unconstitutional manner, then the Supreme Court and High Court can declare it ultra vires or reject it completely. So this is an important power enjoyed by Supreme Court and High Court, judicial review. So that's all for this chapter, children. Now we'll answer the following questions in detail. So first long question is, explain the importance of Constitution. So for this answer, come to page 100. So for this answer, see this box where the meaning of Constitution is given. Second paragraph, make first point. First point here, it generates a degree of trust and coordination that is necessary for different kinds of people to live together. Second point, it specifies how the government will be constituted for who will have power to take which decisions. Third point, it lays down limits on the powers of the government and tells us what the rights of the citizens are. And fourth point, it expresses the aspirations of the people about creating a good society. Next, the Constituent Assembly was the representative body of the people of India. Explain with examples. For this answer, again come to page 100. Mark from first paragraph, 7th line. Great men and women from different communities were entrusted with the momentous task of drafting the Constitution of Free India. They came to the Constituent Assembly from all parts of the country, making it a miniature India. Next column. The Constituent Assembly had members belonging to different communities and regions of India. It also had members representing different political parties. Up to here. Next, India is sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic justified. Page 103. Second column. You will write this answer in points. First you will mention the word sovereign, then hyphen, then you will explain it. India is sovereign as it is independent of any foreign control. Second point, socialist. Then it is socialist as it aims at social and economic equality. Like this you will write for all the points. Next, mention any three features of the parliamentary government. Come to page 104. 7th point, parliamentary government. Make first point, first you start from the question. The three features of the parliamentary government are. Then make first point, third line. The president and the state governors are nominal head of the executive. Second point, the real power is vested in the Council of Ministers headed by Prime Minister at the center and the Chief Minister in the state. Third point, you leave two lines. The Council of Ministers is jointly responsible to the Parliament and the state legislature, which can remove the Prime Minister or Chief Minister by passing a vote of no confidence. So 3 points for this answer. Last question. Unlike other federations in India, the centre clearly has advantages over the state. Explain by giving example. This answer you will write, children. First you will write this sentence in your answer. Unlike other federations in India, the centre clearly has advantages over the state. Full stop. Then you write first point. The union list contains more subjects and more important subjects. Second point, the centre has overriding authority over the concurrent list. CONCURRENT. Concurrent list. LIST. Full stop. Now match the following. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, objective resolution. B.R. Ambedkar, chairman of the drafting committee. Rajendra Prasad, president of the Constituent Assembly. Sarojini Naidu, member of the Constituent Assembly. Then second match the following. Sovereign, people has the supreme right to make decision. Republic, head of the state is an elected person. Fraternity, people should live like brothers and sisters. Secular government did not favor any religion. So children, complete all these answers in your copy. Thank you.